All right, guys. So I've got a follow-up interview with Skycoin, and the last one we did was pretty amazing, and here we are talking about the follow-up, what these guys are doing, what they're up to, how they're developing, and so forth. And me and Synth, we've got our caps on. He's got his Skycoin cap on. I've got my New York cap on. Everyone knows me by my New York cap. And one of the things I like to do is tell people about what Skycoin are doing. And as you know, the first interview was immense. He's got it sideways a little bit like me. I said to him, it's like yeah, yeah. So back to the past, sort of. So this is a follow-up interview to tell people exactly what Skycoin is doing, and for those purposes. And as you know, this is purely an educational video interview to tell people about what these guys are going to do. Not investment advice or financial advice. This is just purely an educational video interview that Skycoin are doing with us. And this is a sponsored content video to tell you guys that this has been sponsored and to be basically transparent with the audience about what is going on. And that's kind of the person who I stand for. So do take this as an educational video interview to tell people exactly what Skycoin are doing, and how this follow-up is just one of the procedures where Skycoin are really trying to be transparent in telling us who they are and why they are growing in the crypto market. So that's my 2 cents. Synth, it's great to get you on board from the last one. Amazing interview last time. It was a blast. And this time we're talking about the follow-up. So, Synth, how's it going? How's Skycoin developing? And where are we now in terms of the crypto market where Skycoin is leading?
I think we're doing great, but during last December, like 90% of the company, 95% of the company shut down, fired all their staff, and the whole market was just like a suicide. I had Neo in my office. They fired like 60 people, and I came in one day and all the desks are cleared out, and there's like no one there. So, and the founders announced they started and left for a new project, and so we're like one of the only blockchain companies left doing like serious development work. So we're still going, and and I think the market. I knew we were gonna have a. I thought it was gonna last 2 years. But last 3 weeks, Bitcoin will just hit 9,000. So the winter's over. Everyone's going back into blockchain. I think that Bitcoin's gonna drop. I think they're going to run up to 9,000. It's going to drop, and a lot of people are going to panic. Then they're going to shoot it up again, maybe even past 12,000. I don't see the Bitcoin staying down at this point.
That's great about Bitcoin. I got the Bitcoin T-shirt, as you see. So it's something that I keep beside me all the time. I think what you're saying about Bitcoin is quite interesting. But let's talk about Skycoin and what you guys are doing. So, how is Skycoin developing? This is a follow-up educational interview. How are you guys doing in terms of your development?
We are finishing everything that we wanted to finish. So when we started, like last year when we had the bubble, Skycoin went to about like $50 from $1. So it was hovering like $1, $2 for a while. Then the whole bubble, the market started going crazy, and the market cap went up to 800 million, and it was just crazy. You can't even imagine how fast this happened. And we were prepared. We were like a tiny coin. We had a couple developers. We had a community of a few hundred people, and we just kept growing and growing and growing through the downturn, basically. And now we have 10,000 users. We have meetups in like almost a dozen cities now. We're setting up meetups in 50 cities. We have our hardware platform, like our SkyMiner. We're building.
Yeah, I heard about that. That's pretty cool. Amazing.
We have a textbook for our programming language. So we're actually. So they say, what is Skycoin? What are we doing? And it's the question is, what aren't we doing? So we have like hardware wallets. We're one of the only 2 coins with our own programming language for blockchain. So there's Ethereum, and then there's Skycoin CX language, and we're also building like blockchain applications like telecom apps and things like that. And and we're starting to do video games. So we just launched the CX language. We have our textbook now, our programming language, our platform. And in the last week, we started this thing called CX Lab, and I think we have like 120 developers coming in.
So you signed up about 120 developers on the CX Lab, right? As you were saying.
In a week, which is just crazy. Yeah, we can't even keep up with the. So I think it's good. It's so when we passed our all-time high last year, we were really small. We were just starting development, and there was a lot of stuff in progress. And this year, I think is the year that we're going to be finishing everything and pushing it out to the public. Like we got our mobile wallet pushed out. We had it translated into Chinese and Korean. We're launching our hardware wallets. Wherever all the projects that we started last year at the beginning of the year are sort of getting pushed out this year. So it's good.
There's a lot of talk about Skycoin on social media platforms. I've seen quite a lot of people mentioning Synth about Skycoin, how they're moving on to the next development of their project. And a lot of people seem bullish on the coin itself, which is Skycoin, just because a lot of guys are saying that, you've got a great team, a great project, you've got a working product that is also coming into place. How do you see that contrasting to your audience, to your fans, to your followers? What sort of progress and sort of, how can I say, seriousness you can give to tell people about Skycoin?
I think that if we do well, I think we could kill Ethereum. I think that, when I started when I was doing this, we wanted to kill Bitcoin, but that's not, Bitcoin is like 10 or 20 more years.
Granddaddy, yeah.
No one's I don't think no matter how strong your coin is, your technology, the market is like set on Bitcoin right now as the leader in the cryptocurrency. But in terms of, so our niche right now is really competing against Ethereum because we're giving, like Ethereum, you have one giant database basically storing 100,000 apps, and it's slow because you're sharing the database with 100,000 people, so it gets crowded. And what we're doing is we're giving each application its own personal blockchain. So every company, every application they launch, they have their own blockchain with their own storage and their own computation, and we're doing things like hardware. So we're much more focused on the application developer and really what comes after Ethereum, because I think we have a lot of companies and NGOs and banks and things like that. They want to come into blockchain, but they don't want to build their thing on someone else's platform that they don't control. So we have a lot of those people who experimented with Ethereum coming to us to actually launch the real world application of what they're doing. So that's good.
I've seen your Telegram community. It's like over 10,000 members now. It's growing quite strong. I have been monitoring, the analysis there, and people are still flocking to Skycoin, it seems.
I think we actually have the largest community in crypto. I've seen like coins of 99999 people in their chat room, but it's all bots. And when we had over 250 active people in our chat room every day, I couldn't even keep track of who are these people, and so many new people coming in.
True.
And what's crazy, last month, Bitcoin, so Bitcoin has about 10,000 public nodes. We have an application called Skywire, and we passed Bitcoin last month. So we were at 30,000 nodes. So in 1 month, we went from 30% more nodes online to Bitcoin. And that growth really hasn't stopped, and I think it's going to hit 100,000 by the next few months, and it's just going to keep going and going and going. And so we've just seen crazy, just crazy growth. And I think if you really look at the market, what the investors are looking for is they're looking for platforms. They're looking for not just an app coin like Messenger coin, dog coin, or this or that, where like or selfie coin. Get coins to take selfies. They want to see a platform that has 150 different applications on it. And in the market right now, before December, there was only like 6 or 8 coins that were really had a soft, consensus algorithm, a blockchain, and that people were building their projects on. And the whole market imploded, and we were the only company left. And I think even like Ethereum is really strong. They have a few tens of billions of dollars, but if you look at consensus, they really wound down consensus and what they were doing in December. And we're one of the only coins that actually accelerated going into the downturn and kept growing. And
we'll that I know there's been a lot of positive news with Skycoin, and Telegram says it all to me, you know, with your fans and the people who are like checking you out. I'm part of the group, and the thing is just nonstop. People are just communicating and connecting. So talking about the bear market, you know, you mentioned about this bear market and a lot of sort of companies closed down. How do you see this now? Because, you know, Mike Novogratz, a couple of other big players said use cases are really, really important in the blockchain space. No use case, no blockchain, it doesn't work. It's the end, right? And we hear this sentiment all the time. And, you know, this is an educational video interview, you know, to tell people about it, not so much investment advice, but an educational video interview. Is how do you see use cases now coming? Because it looks like that's where the investors are flocking. That's where people want to see real things being built. Where does Skycoin fit into that?
I think we're doing a great job with what I want to see is we have 120 developers. I want to see like 1,000 developers, and of those apps, we're going to take 20 or 30 of the best ones.
But that's good, right? You've got 120 developers. That's pretty good. Yeah. That's pretty good going, Synth.
But, you know, last bubble, there were people that went into India and the university started like developing, and they had 6,000 developers or something. So I think we're just revving up. And if you look at Ethereum, it's going to take us a year or two to just build up to where they are right now. And, you know, there's a lot of people left the space. So I know the FCK guy. FCK was the biggest Ethereum developer. They had 8 of the top 10 apps on Ethereum.
Right.
They actually, I talked to the owner, and he built the DEX. And I don't mean like a DEX, like, you know, the lot was like, oh, we got a DEX. Like, he actually figured out the protocols to get a decentralized exchange working. But he calculated on Ethereum, it's going to take him $50 million a day in gas fees to run it, because you need to do this cryptography and key exchange. So we have people with these revolutionary apps that are going to completely change the crypto market. And they're just waiting on the sidelines right now on vacation until something comes along that'll allow them to actually build these apps, because they couldn't build them on Ethereum. So that's really what we're trying to do this year, is we're trying to get our programming language. We got our textbook. We did our university partnerships. We started our meetups, our college ambassador programs. We started bringing in the developers and writing doing a meetup every week of how do you write your app, how do I launch my coin. And we want to, I want to see everything that we currently do on the desktop, like Twitter, Telegram, YouTube. I want to see a blockchain version of those applications on our platform. That's what I want to have by the end of the year.
So in terms of a use case, do you think you've got a working using product which everyone is fighting about now? There's a lot of talk about this, you know. As I say, Mike Novogratz mentioned it. There's a couple of other guys that have mentioned that use cases are really important. Does Skycoin fit into that?
Yeah, what's amazing about Skycoin is, if you look at Bitcoin, I think it was the first generation. It was just a token. And the second generation was, we had smart contracts. We had Ethereum, and then we had some other people trying to copy that, like Tron and Neo and, you know, Arc.
Tron, right.
And they were sort of following Ethereum. But
I don't know if Tron is still a scam or is it still a good project? I'm not sure.
It's hard to tell.
I'll say that as an educational point of view. But yeah, anyway.
So we had the first generation was Bitcoin. The second generation was Ethereum. And then I think the third generation is going to be Skycoin, because what we have is not smart contracts. We have a programming language, and we can now actually run any application that will run on a computer. We can all run on a blockchain, just like it was a CPU. And so for a developer, if they could write anything, chat apps, video encoders, video games, poker. We even have someone who wrote a 3D game engine in CX, and you're gonna have someone write like Counter-Strike on blockchain, and they're writing applications that are just like, why would you even do that? Just to show off, basically. So I think once we give the power to the developers to build applications the way they're used to on the normal computer, instead of being restricted to these smart contracts, that we're going to see another third wave of blockchain innovation. We're going to just see a flood of applications and new ICOs, and we're in the middle of that right now, because we're the only company besides Ethereum with their own programming language, basically.
So you guys are basically got a head start in the market. In terms of where you guys are sort of going. And do you think gaming is one area that you guys are going to tackle? Like you say, you're a third generation, man. I mean, it's pretty good going.
I think gaming on blockchain is going to be $1 trillion. I think that it's going to be one of the leading applications, Because remember Satoshi dice, before Satoshi dice, before gambling, Bitcoin was worthless. And then so Satoshi dice came on and the price just skyrocketed. And one of the most popular things for this is the real money gambling, because you can't really pay poker in the US with real money. They shut down the poker sites. And we saw a lot of poker sites move over to Bitcoin, but they had their domains seized, they got shut down. And they weren't really fully blockchain because they were still based upon the internet and the government was still going after them. So I see once we see one person actually move poker fully onto the blockchain, so it's not connected to the internet at all, that's going to take off and be the new poker stars. And that company itself is really a $150 billion a year company. It's,
amazing, guys. All right, guys, so this is just Synth telling us his views about Skycoin. Obviously, take this as an educational piece of video interview, not investment advice. This is just purely telling people about what Skycoin are doing and learning all about it. So do go to their website. Do check out what these guys do. Don't just go and research projects that have got no use cases, because Skycoin, it seems to me, are moving forward, like he says, to the third generation blockchain, which is always a positive sentiment. So, is Skycoin, talking about how you wanted to decentralize the web? It looks like Skycoin is purely decentralized. How are you keeping on top of the roadmap? How are things going? You mentioned there's a lot going on in the pipeline. The community is more bullish, it seems. Bitcoin touched 9,000 and, consolidating there. So it looks like a lot of positive sentiment has sort of come across. Where are you guys going with your roadmap, and what new things do you think will occur so we can learn and understand what Skycoin are doing from that sense?
So I think this year we're hitting hard on the marketing and the meetups and the college programs, and I think it's really important because we didn't really market last, which was was a problem. I think it was enough to get us to $50 at the all-time high, but we weren't actively bringing users; they just showed up. And so this year we're actually
the problem with blockchain. Do you think there's a problem with marketing and stuff?
I think that if you like Tron and you market, even if you don't have a product, you can bring in a lot of people. But I think a lot of the technical projects like Waves and Arc and this, I saw them fail because of basically not because they didn't have a good product, but because of marketing. So this year we built up a marketing team, and we also are launching the product, which is I'm really excited about, because you say you're going to raise all this money, you're going to do this ICO, and it really took like 4 or 6 years for us to develop the thing. And if you raise money now, your thing is not going to be ready in a year. We saw every major coin that raised money go under. They pushed back the road another year. They took the road back for 2018 and they relabeled it 2019 because they didn't make any progress. And so I think we chose a realistic time frame to get all of our stuff out. And
talking about your roadmap and stuff and what's going on there with you guys, sort of thing.
I think the most exciting thing that we have, besides we're on all the major exchanges now, and we have the rest of them lined up. So we're going to have like the announcements and the media, and that's already done. But the launch of our hardware wallet is going to be exciting. We have a $10 hardware wallet, which is like the Trezor, but it's $10. So it's going to have a wider audience, basically a marketing tool to get more people on Skycoin. We have our mesh network project in New York, so we're building like a little community project where people are going to earn coins for setting up meshnet nodes and relaying in. That's exciting. And then getting game developers on the platform and starting to see the first real blockchain gaming applications. I think that's going to take 2 or 3 years in terms of bug fixes, and the developers are very demanding, and it's a lot of work actually. But I think we're going to start the first applications this year, and we're going to see the basically anything that you could do without blockchain, you're going to be able to do on blockchain, I think, in 2 or 3 years in terms of gaming. And so there's just a lot going on. It's really...
There's a lot of positivity. I mean, obviously, gaming is one area where you're saying it's going to be $1 trillion. It's going to be a very big asset, and Skycoin are tapping into that. Where do you see yourself tapping into other areas? You think you may be still looking to, build a decentralized web? Is that something that you guys obviously on your roadmap will be saying?
That is running. So we had Skywire. We launched it last year, and it's been running in the testnet for over a year, and we launched the mainnet. And now we're just fixing bugs and upgrading, and we're launching a hardware platform. And I want to see Skywire being used in a city. So instead of just being something on the internet, I want to get people. I think so. New York City is probably going to be the first city that we hook up a physical network to, and they have a mesh network group down there, and so we're going to send like a few hundred nodes down there, set it up, and we're going to see how it works. And if that works, then we're going to do another 150, 50 cities at a time, and like, okay, these 50 cities and this 50 cities, and
just
it's really, yeah, to organize meetups, like 50 cities, it's and like mailing out all these hats and t-shirts and stickers, and we just mailed out 16 boxes that were like 100 kilos each, and just swag.
Awesome.
And it's just you can't even imagine the scale of because the blockchain is really a global operation. So we started with like just the internet and Bitcoin. And now after the advertising ban, you're basically going city by city, like building up meetup groups and building local communities. And that's how a lot of the coins like EOS and things are they grow now. It's not so much internet advertising anymore, because people don't care about the internet. They want to see things in the real world, want to be part of a community and so on. So we're building that up.
It's great to spread your story. I think you guys are doing amazing things with the community. I like the educational courses you're bringing in, which is CX, and telling people about it. And it's pretty cool. Like you're also going from state to state, and really trying to get people to understand and grasp Skycoin, something that I stand for within my community, which is spreading this education and knowledge. Where is Skycoin going in terms of now? We understand the use case. You're looking to this third generation blockchain. So you're looking towards the future. Where do you guys stand with regulation? Are you now still compliance and you're following it? Or is it like, I know it's a pretty tricky subject, but it's great to just hear, where you guys stand with it, and so the audience knows. So
I think a lot of the coins spent millions of dollars on lawyer fees last bubble, and the lawyers are saying, you need this, and you need that, and you need that. And we got like 2 papers, and we paid like $10,000 for it, but then everyone died, and now no one has money. They don't care about paying $10 million lawyer fees. So we sort of avoided that. And I think the regulation really backed off when everyone was raising all this money, and we had these crazy ICOs. I think the government sort of cracked down on the coins a bit more. Like we had a conference in Shanghai, and we had our conference, no problems. Next day, another coin came in, and the police raided the hotel at the same hotel we were in the day before. Shut them down. So we really haven't had any problems, and the government says this,
and so forth. It's very important, right?
If you don't cause a problem, they really will just leave you alone. But like the BitConnect guys, they were scamming people, and they got arrested. Most of we didn't cause any problems, so we didn't have any issues. But I think in terms of regulation, they're not going after the coins. They're going after Bitfinex, and they're going after Polynex, and they're going after these huge exchanges, trying to get them under control. But the coins they're mostly ignoring. Like they told like Bitfinex, you can't list privacy coins.
I heard that the ICO market is now, the SEC are not really going after these guys. Like you say, they've taken a less able approach, and they're going after the exchanges with high liquidity. They're not following compliance rules and so forth.
They most of the blockchain activity actually was fled to Hong Kong, Singapore, Korea, and China, and it's very difficult for the U.S. government or like New York or Wall Street to come in, and they tried to do the bit license and make everyone sign up, and they tried to do this and that, but it's all bullshit. They really besides twisting the balls of Bitfinex, they can't really do much right now. So it might change.
It's always great though that ICOs are following. It's pretty important. Regulatory practices are always going to be an important thing in this area, and that's why it's quite important to be transparent about it. But it's good you guys are like following that to a certain extent. So let's talk about where you guys are now heading, man. I mean, I'm quite bullish in the market. A lot of great things are happening. I just heard Microsoft. What else? Whole Foods have got in. A lot of guys are starting to get into Bitcoin. We got back coming up in July. A lot of bullish things going on. Where does Skycoin now lead? I love the cat, dude. It's pretty sideways. Yeah, like a piece. But where do you see guys going, and where does Skycoin now go in the future, sort of?
I think the market is a cycle. So all the people I have people messaging me like, how many Skycoin do I need to own a Lambo? How many Skycoin should I own to get $6 million? This is a crazy question because people are really trying to guess what the market is going to hit the peak. What can we reasonably expect from the market? And my perspective, whenever I'm looking at the market, I see it as cyclical. So I've been through 8 cycles. Since Bitcoin was $1, and every year it does basically the same thing. And a new group of people come in and they get wrecked because they don't understand that it's just doing the same thing over and over and over again. When I see that, jumping out of a building, I'm not looking at the price every 5 minutes. I already know what it's going to do because I've seen it 50 times. And so for us, we went from 10 cents, we did a bump, it went up to $3 last cycle, which was a 30x increase. And now we saw a bunch of people just flood into blockchain, like massive amount of money. And it sent our price up to $50 a coin. And that was our all-time high. And then a lot of people said, okay, I got $30 million. I'm going to cash out. I'm going to buy my boat. I'm going to buy my house. I'm going to get my new wife. I'm going to buy 3 Lambos. I'm going to pay off all my debt, student loans. And they just and then the market sort of collapsed after, Bitcoin ran up to 18K. And what I'm seeing now is once the market picks up and Bitcoin blows past the all-time high, I really don't have any doubts that Skycoin is going to blow past, $50. So we're at $2 now. I know just because this does this every year, it goes whoop, hits this peak, a new all-time high, then it crashes to some level, and then it goes back up again. And this is just like clockwork. It's happened 6 or 8 times. I don't really expect it to do anything different this time. But for us, what I want to see is not just blowing past $50. I want to see Skycoin in the top 10. Right. Because we built technology, we built the programming language, we're the only coin with hardware. Right. And so we're in a position now to take the top spot in the ranking. And to get to that top spot, we have to get to $500 to $800 a coin, which is sort of crazy.
That's a pretty crazy estimation, though, would you say? Or would you think that's a realistic sort of thing for the people and the audience looking?
I think what happened with IOTA, if you look at IOTA, they weren't on an exchange. They got on an exchange, and suddenly the market cap's $1 billion, and then they do the marketing, and then people piled in, and it went to $5 billion, $8 billion. And I think during the bubble, there's going to be more money. Basically, it's a real good position for us because in December, all the companies died. We're one of the only companies left that are still doing development and marketing. And it cleared out 90% of the space. So before, you had to have to fight with 500 coins. And it was really vicious. December cleared out all of these shit coins. So we're not, in terms of marketing, like we're going on the Coinbank cruise, and we're like the only coin. We're like, there's a few coins, there's some celebrities, a lot of blockchain, people in blockchain. But last year it would have been 30, 40 coins fighting for attention. And this year there's not even there's no one left. So I feel like we just won by default, and I'm just waiting for the market to realize to sort of get back to the reality.
Yeah, so it's a pretty cycle where you got to realize what the hell's going on, right, and see when it's going to turn in Skycoin. So you're saying maybe a couple of $100 you reckon per token if the market goes to your favor, sort of thing.
I think that when the Bitcoin passes 18K, we're going to see a huge surge of interest in Bitcoin. It's larger than anything we've ever seen. And I know those traders, once Bitcoin's going up, the altcoins sort of stay where they are in US dollar. Then as soon as Bitcoin stops going up, all the money redistributes back into the altcoins, and they shoot through the freaking roof. And we had this happen last week as the Bitcoin went up to 8K, 9K. Skycoin didn't move at all. And as soon as the Bitcoin stopped going up, all the money went back into the altcoins, and our coin price shot up from like 80 cents, $1 up to $2.50. So it was like over 100% increase over 2 weeks. Wow. And so there's that initial bubble just from those traders and the rebalancing. But once Bitcoin's over 18K, everyone is going to be choosing like, what coin do I buy to get rich? That's what they're going to be asking is, I want to get $3 million. I want to pay off my mortgage. I want to get rich. One of these coins is going to win, and everyone wants to buy the winning lotto ticket. So when they look around this time, instead of 500 ICOs, which was really confusing, I think there's only going to be 10 or 20 coins max that are really serious contenders in the next run up. So we're going to have 20 times more money going into a much smaller number of coins. And I don't see people raising $1 billion ICO anymore. I think that people were so burned on the ICOs last cycle that we're not going to see any new coins rate, maybe 10 million, 20 million, but we're not going to see $1 billion ICO. And the people who, even if they did raise that money, their product is not going to come out this cycle. It won't be ready for 2 or 3 cycles, 2 or 3 years from now. So any coin that's raising money now, coming into the market as a new product, is not going to have enough time within this market cycle to develop anything tangible. So I think it's the existing coins and the existing people that are in the race that have any chance of winning. And I think 90% of the coins were knocked out. So it's going to be a very small number of really big coins. And we're going to see, like, IOTA, can they perform? Is Ethereum going to come out with a second-generation platform? Is it going to lose developers to someone else? Is it going to I think, honestly, though, I as an insider, I know these people. I know that they made $20 billion already. I know they cashed out, and the guy's on his freaking yacht right now playing golf. Right? He's not. He doesn't want. I don't see that guy coming back into the bubble like guns blazing. I think he's thinking, like, do I really need another $100 billion? He's fighting the IRS, and he's trying to stay. He doesn't want the SEC prosecuting him for launching this or that DAX, and they twist him by the balls. And he says, okay, I'm going to take my money and run. And I made enough money for my lifetime. And you saw them cut back staff, say, I started a new company, I'm working on new projects. Even in Vitalik said, Ethereum would be more decentralized without me. And people said, oh, Vitalik's quitting, he's quitting. Oh, no, I didn't say I was quitting. He said he quit. Then he said, no, I didn't say that. So a lot of the people in the second bubble just had enough, and they moved on, and they're not coming back into the market. So for us, I don't have any competitors. That's the Skycoin.
So Skycoin will grow. You think the bull run will be even bigger than in the next one, you reckon, right? Or you think it's mediocre?
When we were at $50, our community was like a few hundred people. Now we have 10,000 people. We had almost a few hundred computers, and now we have 13,000 computers. So we Bitcoin, and no one even noticed or cared because they weren't paying attention. And our number of nodes we had online for Skywire went up 30% in 1 month, which is just it's just crazy. Yeah. And so I think we were organizing a meetup program, and people on the ground were putting in meetups before we could even get them organized. Like we had an LA meetup, I'm like, who put that on? We didn't even know the organizer. We never heard of them. And it's just everything is happening by itself now. I don't even have to go out and do marketing. Like people are just, I love Skycoin.
Yeah, like your Telegram group, people are getting to know the vibe is in the air, and it's pretty amazing how far you guys are spreading. So guys, it's just a realist interview. This is what I stand for, real video educational interviews. Don't take this as investment advice. This is just Synth giving his personal views about Skycoin and so forth. So this is not financial advice. This is just purely a learning interview. My final question is, Synth, is where do you see yourself now in the next, you're saying you're a 3rd generation blockchain. Break down to the audience so we kind of know. I mean, a lot of guys are still trying to put their head around Bitcoin, let alone this 3rd generation concept. Where do you see Skycoin going in terms of your competitors like Cardano, which is 3rd generation, Aeon, which is 3rd generation, and so forth? Where do you see you guys fitting into this principle?
I think so. Some of these coins are ERC20 tokens, and so I think they're still 2nd generation. I think to be a 3rd generation, you have to have your own blockchain. You can't just get an ERC20 token. So, and when you Elastos is another one, but they're an ERC20 token. And until you get your own blockchain, you're not really sure. So, I think it's just going to be. I think it's just going to be crazy. I really don't know. I'm going to be dying when I see all these people coming in, all this activity, and it's I was sort of on vacation and relaxing, and I thought, oh, I got till February to relax and do some software development. But now it's just everything. It's moving so fast, and so many people are coming in, and everyone is so excited. And it's a third coming of blockchain. And where I want to be in 5 years, I don't know, because the market is moving so quickly. But I know in the next year, I want to get the hardware wallet launched. I want to get the meetup set up. I want to have people making video games. I want to have our new hardware releases. I want to
educate people about the program you got as well, which is pretty cool. What you guys are doing. You got to show it, man. You got to show it.
Where's my other stuff? This is awesome too. I got like Skycoin cell phone stickies.
Wow. Amazing. And you guys are really trying to tackle third generation then. You want your own blockchain, purely decentralized. I mean, you are decentralized already, but you'll go ultra decentralized. That's the third generation principle, right?
I think everyone is, instead of having like AOL pages as your website or GeoCities, I think we're going towards personal blockchain. So before we had a web server and everyone sharing GeoCities pages or Tri-Cities, it was $100,000 a month to have a web server to run your website. Then eventually the VPS servers got $10 a month, host your WordPress blog, $20 a month, and everyone had their own website. And I think that's where blockchain is heading. I think everyone's going to have their own blockchain. Every company is going to have 10 or 20 blockchains. I think governments are going to start doing blockchains left and right. And we're actually just the developer providing the infrastructure. We're like a plumber providing like pipes. And that's how I feel, because I have all these customers coming and companies and governments, and they know that
for sure.
But they haven't chose, are we going to do this, or we're going to do that, or we're going to do that. And they're sitting on the sidelines waiting until there's something that can meet their need. So a lot of what we do is actually just listen to the customer, listen to the company, listen to the government client, and then implement what they need to get their project done. And I think that's where Ethereum really failed, because the only thing you could do on Ethereum was launch apps on Ethereum. And people were paying $3 a transaction, $5 a transaction for, like, Dubai wanted to put their parking tickets on blockchain and have the payments done with some coin. But if they're paying $3 every ticket, the overhead was just so crazy that it didn't make sense for them. So now that we can give them their own blockchain, they're going to come back in and they're going to say, let's do this, let's do that, let's do that.
You guys want to work with everyone, basically, and make it more open, I would say, right?
We're enabling the people to have their own that they control, that instead of being on someone else's platform. Yeah, so it's like I think it's going to be crazy. I think we're going to have 3,000 developers, and I think maybe 20 or 50 of them are going to build apps that have 100 million users that are like Netflix or Google or Twitter. But it's you have 100,000 companies, and a few of them will succeed. That's how development works.
Oh, amazing. What a great interview. It's great to learn all about what Synth is doing at Skycoin. It's a follow-up interview telling you guys exactly what is in the process, basically, and where Skycoin is heading to. And I think that's really important to understand and learn about projects that are doing good things, and something I stand for, which is sharing this education and knowledge and learning to people to basically understand what Skycoin is and where they're leading to. So, the first interview was great. I'm sure the second one is going to be even better to get more people to understand what these guys are doing. And Synth, I just want to mark up and remark what I want to say is that you're saying you'll be the Ethereum killer, which I just took back 20 minutes ago.
But I'll start with Ethereum.
Like, they got scaling issues, buddy. Do you think you can really grow in the market cap in terms of your rankings and move up the table to maybe take top 10, top 15 spot?
I saw what happened to really IOTA when it was nowhere, and some Russian guys said this is the next Bitcoin, and they dumped 20 million in it. It sent the market cap.
Must be kicking themselves now. Yeah.
It's just, and really that's what I saw, is because people, they all have the same notion, which is I talked to investors. And I had a guy, and he's like, I want to buy this $1 million Skycoin. I don't care about the price. I'm like, what do you mean you don't care about the price? And he says, well, it's either going to be the next Bitcoin or it's not. And he said, you know, did you complain if you bought Bitcoin at $6, $5, $30, 150? You know, did you say, oh, Bitcoin was too expensive at 150? Because if Bitcoin goes to $9,000, you don't care whether you bought it at 150. Yeah. You just say, how many Bitcoin do I own? Because that's how much you're worth. So we have a lot of investors now, and they say it's either going to win or it's not, and they know that there's only 6 or 8 coins that are really in the fight, and they put $1 million in each of them, and they don't care which of them wins. They say one of these coins is going to win, so I'm going to own all of them, and that's what the Silicon Valley guys do, is this Twitter, Facebook, Google, like it's the same investor. Invest in every company in Silicon Valley.
And talking about Ethereum, do you think Ethereum will flip? Do you think Ethereum will flop in terms of its problems? People are still bullish on Ethereum, or do you think it's going to ride the wave?
I think that there's so few coins for the money to go into that are really AAA, that the investor, there's so much money and there's so few choices for that money to go into. So I think everything that is not a shitcoin is going to do really well. I think everything is going to go up 50x. I think, but then what happens after the market? Who's actually going to end up with the largest development base? Who's going to have the corporate partners?
Right.
Who's going to actually be controlling the standard at the end of the fight? Right. I think that we're in a better position than Ethereum with respect to that. But just overcoming the momentum that they have and the number of people and community, even growing 30% a month. Now it's going to take us 2 years to catch up to building a development network that size.
Right.
And
but you guys are catching up, right? And that's the good thing all about it. So amazing. What a great interview, Synth. Great to have you on board and tell us all about Skycoin. Don't take this as financial advice. It's just purely a learning interview. So learn all about it. Check out the website. See what Skycoin are doing. Go to their Telegram group. I'm sure my audience will enjoy this video interview. And as I say, this is a sponsored content and it's disclosed below just to give you the transparency of it. So, all right, guys, much respect. Enjoy. Synth, is anything else you'd like to say?
No. I'll see you guys on the Coinbase cruise.
You'll be on the crypto cruise as well, right?
We have three Netflix film crews filming us for some television shows about all these crypto billionaires on a boat, like snorting coke off Russian models and
madness. Crazy. Great, Synth. It's great to have you, mate. Do tune in and see you in the next one. Thanks, Synth. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.